Yep, that settles it. I'm going to Bike Builder's hell. Welcome to Bottoncino Bicycles. My name is Alex. Today we're working on this baby right here, a beautiful pink hard rock. I'll show you some close-ups of the frame so you get an idea of the condition that it's in, and by the end of it we should have a complete bike, hopefully. Let's do it! Man, what a color scheme on this 91 hard rock ladies frame. I think this is when people usually say they just don't make them like this anymore. It's a steel frame with chromoly main tubing, which usually means that the fork and possibly also the chainstays are of a lower grade material. As you can see in here, the frame looks more red than it did outside, but the outside pink is a lot more true to the actual color of the frame. I had a bit of an issue with the little stud of the spacer because it was lodged in the threads, so I just tried to push it back into the indentation and it did the trick. I was able to remove it. I'm gonna give this a bit of a service, some fresh grease, and then it's going back on. Headsets are about the only time I get my hands or my gloves dirty. Otherwise I always rely on my grease stick. Back to the grease stick. Same procedure for the bottom bracket as for the headset. Original is going back in, but it did get cleaned and some new grease. The wheel set is vintage. It's not the original one, but I chose this one because it's black, and two, it has this pink Araya logo on it, which matches the frame really nicely. The wired Billy bunkers can be a bit tricky to bed into the rim properly, so I used soap to help that process. It's too bad this tan version was discontinued, because on some frames like this one it just matches so well. The stock crankset comes with the oval Shimano BioPace chainrings, which you can see right about now. I use a very fine steel wool to make sure that these brake mounts are nice and smooth. This, by the way, is a different grease stick to the one earlier. There's one for each type of grease. always best to align the bars and all the levers when the bike is on the ground, so it's fully horizontal. And next up, we're gonna mount the basket, or at least so I thought. There was a slight issue. Yep, that settles it. I'm going to Bike Builder's help. I'm sorry. This might look a bit strange as well, but these basket mounts are meant to be bent into shape, so you can adjust the angle that the basket is sitting at. Quite an interesting cable routing setup in the rear. The fork mount on these Manivelle baskets makes them nice and sturdy. The only slight issue that you have when you combine them with cantilever brakes is that you need to make sure that the connector cable goes over the top, which can be a bit fiddly. This bike was commissioned by a customer. If you would like your own custom build made by us, you can head on over to our Instagram and check the build to order story highlights, where you can find all the available bikes and frames that can be built up to your specs. Oh, and while you're there, you might as well leave a follow. I mean, clearly you're into bike content, right? You can find a link in the video description. My first thought was to go for black bolts, but why not orange? I had to make a last-minute grip change as the shift levers were slightly touching the lock ring of the grips when you were pulling the lever, it is, but these look pretty similar. In case you're wondering, I'm rubbing down the frame with alcohol so the sticker will stick. But now let's finally look at the end result. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming builds.